The Mariners had the most important series of the entire season, and they failed in every facet. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series analysis episode of the Seattle Baseline Podcast. My name is Julian Smith, and I'm running solo today. Let's see, what should I start with? The Mariners the Mariners did that to themselves this time. It was from the starting pitching to the offense to the relief pitching, everything just kept crumbling for the Mariners. Whether it was the first game, you have Edward Bizardo not able to hold the lead for however many times he's done that this season in the past month. Edward Bizardo has not been the same Edward Bizardo from last year this month. This month, he has downright sucked the same way that Andres Munoz had until he went on a run of no runs. Then you have the second game. Brian Wu, first of all, kind of expected that. I mean, he hasn't been good in away games for the entire year. And like I want to talk about good things the Mariners did. What are some good highlights that the Mariners have? I am so thrilled to talk about Dom Canzone hitting a 3-run homer and the Mariners Instagram saying, "Hey, he just saved the season." No, he didn't. Like you're he saved the third game. The fourth game comes around. Now you've got George Kirby having probably the worst start of his well the worst start of his season so far, and maybe the worst start of his career just happened on game four, and we lost 3-1 to the Texas Rangers, who we are chasing. We are now 2.5 games back, and we're going to be facing the Dodgers right before the trade deadline. We are 2.5 games back of the American League West with the Rangers. We are 2.5 games back with the wild card. The Mariners are seriously not looking good right now. And it's it sucks because we came into this season thinking that the Mariners had a top level team. Pitching staff is still high level, probably better than last year, honestly. The pitching staff last year wasn't as good. This year they've come back. The offense has plummeted. Offense doesn't know how to take walks. They don't know how to get on base. Therefore, the pitchers stop challenging the hitters because, well, if they're going to chase everything out of the zone, why even throw it in the strike zone? Players like Julio Rodriguez, players like Cal Raleigh aren't getting pitches middle because why would you throw it middle to a team that's constantly swinging and missing at changeups and sliders low and away? Obviously, there are some bright spots on this team. Like Dom Canzone has been a really big bright spot. He has been one of the best players in the team. Randy Arozarena, same deal. He's been way better than he's ever been. He was an all-star last year. He's an all-star this year as well. That's awesome. But we lost from the 60 home runs that Cal Raleigh hit. Let's say half the season is 30 and the other half is 30. Obviously, it wasn't that. He hit a lot more in the first half, but let's just say it's 30-30. Cal Raleigh's hit 10 so far. We've lost 20 runs just by homers from Cal Raleigh in the first half of the season. We have lost production from the 7, 8, 9 hitters. That was the big thing in 2025. One of the big things was players like JP was in the 7, 8, 9 spot. Leo Rivas was in the 7, 8, 9 spot. Those guys were hitting. Those guys weren't hitting for power, but they were setting up the bases for Cal Raleigh. And because they were taking their walks, they were hitting anything that was in the zone. The pitchers said, "Hey, if we don't challenge these hitters, they're just going to walk the bases loaded and walk themselves in. It's going to be an endless loop." This year, that walk rate or that on base percentage has dropped by almost 60 points, 40 to 60 points. you can't win if nobody is on base. Solo home runs don't win you games. And if these guys can't get on base, then you're not going to get the pitches necessary to even get that solo home run. That's why Cal Raleigh's struggling. That's why Julio Rodriguez isn't hitting home runs this year, even though his plate discipline has been so good and his on base has soared so much. They're not giving him the right pitches because the rest of the lineup can't produce enough to make the pit to force the pitcher's hand. That's what 7, 8, 9 hitters were doing last year. That's what they're not doing this year. Now you've got a 1, 2, 3 that's probably a not better version of 1, 2, 3 than last year because Cal Raleigh 60 home runs, but a lot more consistent 1, 2, 3 than last year. It's all to waste because you have black holes in the bottom of the order. That's the issue that the Mariners are facing right now in the lineup. And I want to know what you guys think because is the issue really adding another impact bat, or is it that the the core idea is so drastically either wrong or too different that the Mariners hitters aren't able to adjust to that because they are always late on the fastball. They they don't know what to do against fastballs that are up. They swing and miss every time. They don't know how to lay off on pitches because if they're late to the fastball, here's what they're gonna do. They're late to the fastball. Okay, then I need to be on time for the fastball. Let's swing early. Well, you swing early right over a slider that you probably should have laid off on. There, that's called cheating the fastball. If you're cheating the fastball, you're great against fastballs, but then everything else starts to crumble. And because you're bad against everything else, well, now you think, oh, I can't cheat the fastball. I have to lay off on it, or I have to lay off on the slider. Well, instead of swinging over a slider, you're now taking basically an auto take, and then the fastball over the plate, you can't swing because the only way you're catching up to that fastball is to swing early. The swing speed has been an issue for the whole season. They've reduced the swing speed. It's worked for Randy or Rosarena, but for everybody else, it doesn't seem to have worked. What is the core issue with this Mariners lineup? I think it's the philosophy. I think um it's brutal that they had to fire a guy like Bobby Magianis, who was working extensively with this team. They kept the rest of the offensive coaches from the top of the list, like Edgar Martinez. They but yet they haven't solved the issue. The I don't think that one guy, the one guy who's just giving the information from the top of the staff to the players is the issue. The message guy is not the issue. The issue is the guy that's giving that information. The guy at the very top. What is the philosophy there? What do you think is going to happen and why is it not working? We need more information on what the Mariners are trying to do versus what is going on because clearly whatever strategy they're running is not working. I've talked about the forced walks. Alex and I have been talking over and over about forced walks. That's one thing that we really focus on because that's what every great hitter is doing. You know who was doing that? Johnny Pareda. Why is he not on the team? When the team is struggling with on base, why is this guy the only guy that was actually doing it during his time with the big league club? Why is he in the minors grinding whatever catcher ability when clearly the rest of the team can't do what he's doing? He should be in there as a DH. He should be the guy that they sub in on the bench if the left-handed pitcher comes out and Luke Raley needs a substitute. There are a million ways to make it work with left field, right field, center field. a million ways. And yet, Johnny Pareda, a guy that has clearly showed that he has the ability to lay off pitches and foul off pitches, grind good at bats, is not on the team. That's one thing that I think the Mariners are really missing out on, because when he was with the Mariners, his his batting average and his on base were both high. They were both above league average. Maybe the power wasn't there. Maybe he wasn't hitting as many home runs. That one comes, but the um, the fact that he was getting on base, the fact that he was taking those at bats was what should have been a massive sign for the Mariners to keep having him at the big league level. So that is a little bit frustrating. I hope Johnny Pareda is able to come back soon, because we would love his services at the big league level. He is a massive, massive asset that they haven't used. They haven't had Johnny Pareda come up and do that other than when Cal Raleigh was injured. So I'd love to know if you guys would want to see Johnny Pareda, because I would love to see Johnny Pareda. I think that he has the mental ability and the discipline to be a excellent 7, 8, 9 hitter, the way that JP Crawford and Leo Rivas was last year at the start of the season. I think that 7, 8, 9 hole can become a entry point for leadoff hitters like Randy, for Cal Raleigh, who have all been struggling to hit the home runs. I think that having people on base like that would be a massive change. So I'd love to see that for the Mariners. Let's I I don't have much to say about the Rangers series as much as there is I I have stuff to say about the Mariners in general, not as much to say about the Rangers series. So I think it's time to move on to the Dodgers, because now, after having the most important series in the season, we face probably the best team that we could face the entire season. So situations getting from bad to worse. The Rangers, the team that we are chasing, is facing the Tampa Bay Rays, who they've been great too. So the Rangers aren't taking a series off. That's great. So we have the opportunity to make a bit of a comeback here. Now that we've lost against the Rangers, it is much, much more important to beat the Dodgers here, because if we don't, then we have no chance of catching the Rangers, at least before the trade deadline, and chances are we will not be buying. At this point, maybe it's already set in stone that we don't buy, but there is a possibility if we can beat the Dodgers, then whoa, maybe the Mariners have it this year that we haven't seen. Maybe this is the start. So, first things first, let's beat the Dodgers. Let's try to get this Mariners team back on that boat of maybe instead of a boat of no. And the first game, we face we face probably the best pitcher that we're going to face this whole series, Justin Robleski. He has been a under 3 earned run average. That's elite. That is a 2.62 ERA, is like Cy Young caliber. If in some years that does win a Cy Young. That's how good this stat is, and he's significantly improved from what he's done last year to what he's done this year. His his last 3 games, he's gone 7 innings twice, 6 1/3 innings one time. So he is coming off of in the last 3 games, that's 20 20 innings in 3 games. That's what he's coming off of right now. So his he's given up 3 runs, 1 run, 1 run in those 3 games. He's been elite. Like, no questions asked. He has been elite starting pitching. Then we face two of probably their weaker pitchers, from Roki Sasaki in the third game to Eric Lauer in the second game. Those are two pitchers that haven't been as good this year. His Eric Lauer has been a bit better in his last 7 games, but he hasn't been elite the same way that Justin Robleski has been. Justin Robleski is like has taken off. This is his year. And Eric Lauer might not give them the innings that they want. Mariners need to take pitches. Mariners need to That's what the Mariners need to do. They aren't getting challenged right now. They need to make sure that they're taking everything that's not over the heart of the plate. They need to pick one spot. Actually, not just over the heart of the plate. The pitchers aren't going to throw the heart of the plate pitches. So, like a quadrant. This quadrant, I am going to mash out of the park. But maybe this part of the strike zone, I'm not going to swing it. That's something that the Mariners hitters need to identify, because if they don't, then they're just going to be swinging at everything. And whether that's in the zone or not, they're not going to hit anything if they're just swinging at everything. It's like they have a two strike approach, just trying to stay alive at 0-0. That's 0-0 is the count where you do damage. That is the count where you see the pitch. If it's the pitch that you want, you hit it. You either lay off on the pitch you don't want, or you hit the exact pitch that you want. That's what 0-0 is for. That's how you win the at bat. But at strike two, then that's not the case, because you need to foul off every pitch to get to your pitch. That's why everybody swings more at strike two. That's why you leave the your best breaking ball for strike two, trying to get that third strike. That's the pitcher's strategy, and that's why hitters need to swing more on strike two and make sure that they foul off the pitches. They shouldn't be trying to foul off pitches on strike one. They shouldn't be trying to do that on strike zero either. That should be their attack count. That should be their precise, I'm going to swing at this specific pitch count. So then you get to the third game after facing Eric Lauer, who's obviously not been an elite pitcher. He's still great. He's still in the last 7 games has been pretty good, but he's not elite the same way that you'd expect a ace starter to be, which not many of those around. So obviously that's going to be the case. Then the third game, you face Roki Sasaki. He struggled for most of this year. The earned run average does not give him justice. He, in the last 3 games, has been way better in than he has shown in his earned run average. But then again, last 7 games, 5.8 ERA. So he's given up a lot of runs in certain games, but he has had some elite games. Like, for example, New York Mets, the 24th, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, two walks. That's elite. So Roki Sasaki does have the ability to do that. He does have a high velocity. You have to watch out for that splitter, the fork ball. The special Japanese splitter is called the fork ball, and that one curves down a lot sharper than the traditional splitter, something that Logan Gilbert throws. The Mariners need to capitalize on this guy, because there is a good possibility that he does not have the command that other pitchers do. His stuff is elite. His repertoire, the pitches that he throws, elite, really top tier. From the fastball to the splitter, it is very, very good. He does not have the command that other pitchers have later in the games. The Mariners need to make sure that they see exactly what pitch is coming. Sure, that splitter is tunneling off the fastball, but maybe you lay off on the fastball low so that if it is a splitter, you're not swinging over it. Maybe there's a little bit of a strategy, a little bit of mental warfare there with the Mariners. Right now, the Mariners are slumping. That means that you can't rely on sheer ability to break through that. You need a strategy. You need to make sure that every game you go into it with, hey, here's what this pitcher wants to do. Here's what we're going to do this time. And this is your normal tendency. We're going to shut that down today. This is what we need to make sure we do. That's what the Mariners need to say. It's not just, hey, Julio Rodriguez hits this way. It's this pitcher throws this way. So we're going to have Julio Rodriguez do this. We're going to have Cal Raleigh do this. We're going to have Randy do this. Mariners need to come in with a strategy, or else they're going to fall behind even more. And there is no chance that if the Mariners fall behind to 3.5 games after this series, I don't think that there's much of a chance that the Mariners want to buy. I don't think that the Mariners are looking to buy at all at this point. But maybe, just maybe, if the Rangers fall and the Mariners go up, there's a chance. So Mariners need to win this series. Let us know what you guys think. How can the Mariners win this series? How do you think you would structure the strategy? How do you think the Mariners can buy this season, in a season right after the American League Championship Series last year? Please let us know. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our beautiful faces on YouTube. Check out our Instagram. And as always, go Mariners.